Welcome to Digital Dominators, the podcast that helps small business owners grow their confidence, sharpen their digital skills, and actually enjoy showing up online. I'm Sooz Young, your host, tech coach, and digital cheerleader, and every week I chat with brilliant experts to bring you practical tips, smart strategies, and the tools and tech to make business easier. From social media marketing to websites, content to confidence, AI to automation, we're breaking it down into simple steps you can actually use. If you're ready to make things simpler and more successful in your digital world, you're in the right place. Let's get stuck in. Here's the truth most business owners learn the hard way. The thing that got your business to your first level of success is rarely the thing that gets you to the next one. The systems change, the strategy changes, and sometimes even the business model has to change too. Because every time you grow, a new set of challenges show up. Or, as today's guest puts it, new level, new devil. And if your business model doesn't evolve as you grow, you can end up stuck, overwhelmed, or building a business that no longer works for you. Today, we're diving into why business models must evolve as you scale and how to recognize when it's time to make the shift, and strategies that help you build a smarter, stronger business in the digital age. Because growing a business today isn't just about marketing or visibility, it's about building the right structure behind the scenes so that your business can grow with you instead of working against you. Today's guest is Kristine Monaghan, founder of the Class Business Academy and the visionary behind the Class Business Awards, the UK's first platform dedicated to recognising and supporting class-based business owners. Krissy works with a growing community of entrepreneurs who run class-based businesses, from fitness instructors and creatives to educators and workshop leaders, helping them build sustainable, scalable models that support both their income and their impact. Through events, communities, and the Class Business Academy, she's become a leading voice championing the growth, recognition, and evolution of class-based business sectors. In today's conversation, we're exploring why your business model must evolve as you grow, the warning signs that something needs to change, and how entrepreneurs can redesign their business so it supports the next stage of their journey. So let's get into it. Hi, Krissy. Nice to have you on the show today.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited about this conversation because I've not spoken to anyone particularly about class-based businesses. So tell us, to start off with, how did you get into the Class Business Academy? How did you start to create this structure?
Okay, so I've been working in basically the children's activity space for the past 14 years. Originally had a career in athletics, worked for the national governing body of sport, went on to work with one of the largest leisure trusts in the UK. And then when I fell pregnant with my first daughter, knew that I wasn't going to be going back to work, basically. And then I was looking for flexible working. And I came across, basically I took my daughter to the first set of classes I ever went to and realized that there was a whole different world out there that I didn't ever know about, which was baby and toddler classes. From there, I fell into franchising. Again, another world that I didn't know anything about. The local class I was going to, called Make a Mess at the time, established themselves as a franchise. I became one of their first franchisees, which is now known as Mess Around Limited. And then 2 years into that journey, I bought the whole business and took over the limited company. So I literally went from a parent to a franchisor in a space of like 2 years.
Wow.
And then built a franchise network for 9 years across the UK, awarding over 70 franchises, had a network of like 40 pre-COVID. And so I sort of fell into the class sector space. Now, as a child growing up, and probably similar to yourself, I went to lots of different classes. Like my main one was athletics. I spent a lot of time at the local athletics club. So I experienced like what community felt like, what it felt like to be led by coaches, etc. So it was like a natural pathway for me falling into it. And so for 9 years, I was a franchisor. We messed around. Like I said, I scaled my business. Then I was a master franchisee with a sports company. and brought a brand new concept to Scotland during the pandemic. And then for the last 4 years, and this is my 5th year in this business, I've been running online business supporting predominantly children's activity providers for the last 4.5 years. So I've worked with thousands of providers who run baby classes, toddler classes, kids classes, holiday clubs, like all different types of activities, workshops. And so that's where the journey started. But as we're here to discuss like new levels, new devils, the business has had to evolve and had to change for this year.
It sounds like it's evolved quite a few times through this, even just from the 2 years of being the parent to then looking after how many thousands, hundreds of
So we
franchises? You had 70 or something?
Yeah, so in my time as 9 years as a franchisor, I awarded over 70 franchises. I had a network pre-COVID. Obviously, COVID just wrecked us as a company. And we had 40 in our team. So yeah, we scaled that in 5 years. So we went from 0 to 40 in 5 years. So it was a massive transition. For the first of all, I was out like delivering events and sessions myself, and then I went into being a CEO and having to manage a company and lead a team. And that was a big transition in itself. I exited that business just after COVID and handed it to an existing franchisee. After going through the COVID period, sadly, we had to exit like so many people, which was just devastating. And at the time, I just felt like it was time to hand the reins over. I mean, I think you probably know what it's like when you spent that long building something. I just knew I didn't have the energy to do it again. It had to be someone else. And so I was very fortunate to sell and exit my franchise. But that's when I went on to like start helping others. Like I was like, oh, actually, I'm very good at marketing and sales. And then I started an online business, which was completely new to me. I didn't have an absolute Scooby-Doo about online world. And so, yeah, that was 4 years ago I started that journey. And the aim was at the time, and it was very strange because the aim at the time was I thought I predominantly would be working with independent business owners, because usually if you join a franchise, you would get support and you'd get your business model, it's tried, tested, etc. But that actually wasn't the case. I've ended up working with independents, franchisees, licensees as well as other franchisors who want to grow their network and scale, because I've got the experience of doing it. So yeah, there's been like a transition, all leading, I believe, to what I was meant to be doing, which is this now, and leading to me building my own awards platform. I feel like that's been part of the journey. And that was, I feel like that with any business I've been in. Like, you know, when you're going through all the pain stuff, like, and you're like, maybe this is part of the journey. And then now I'm like, that's why I went through all the pain I went through, because it was not easy scaling a business that we did in the franchise to doing what I do now. I'm like, that's why I did it, because it's that journey, and everything I learned is now I can help other people.
It's amazing. Tell us a little bit more about those two parts of your business. So you've got the Class Academy, the Class Business Academy, and you've got the Class Business Awards. So you've mentioned there that that's what kind of followed on. Tell us a little bit more about each of those in detail.
Yeah. So when I first started, I launched myself as basically probably my personal brand. It was like under my name. So it was like, yep, here's me. I'm out here now. I can help everybody. Like I can help all you class business owners with your marketing sales. So I spent the first 6 months of me establishing my online business listening to what people actually needed help with. And so I spent a lot of time figuring out, what do people need? What do they want? Marketing and sales kept coming up in the messages that I was seeing and conversations. And I was always really good at marketing and sales. Like it came very naturally to me. So that's what I started helping people with. So I started with the personal brand year one. And first 6 months, I launched my own like 5-day challenge and launched my own group program off the back of that. And that was the start of Market Like a Pop Star, which is my signature program. And after probably the first year in the business, so I felt like in that first year, I sucked a lot of sweets. Like that's how I call it. I was doing one-to-one, delivering training workshops, doing all of these different things, figuring out what I liked, what I didn't like, what I was good at, what I wasn't good at. So that first year, I would say we had a really, I think, a successful first year that was like, okay, this is working. This is what I like doing, but this is obviously what I need to do. So then when I went into year 2 of the business, I decided, I was like, okay, I'm going to move from my personal brand, and I created the Children's Activity Business Club. So we have a club that basically provides accessible business education to class-based business owners, predominantly in obviously the children's sector. And so year 2 was another like solid year in terms of growing the programs we're doing. And then we added a membership. So by this time I was doing one-to-one work. I had a membership, I had group programs, and that's probably similar to most like online business owners. So those were all in place, and I was layering up like, oh, how this business is working. When we got to year 3, that continued. But I knew for me to get to that next level, this is the whole new level, new devil in terms of income and where I wanted to position myself, that I needed to add in more high ticket work. So that's when we created our mastermind. So we had the mastermind in place. And then I've affiliated for programs like Lisa Johnson's One to Many. So I was like layering in like all the affiliate work. So last year, the 3rd year in business was was the most successful year in terms of income generated, multi-6 figures, all on my own. As I did that all on my own, like no team. I think I've got one VA who does some ops managing work. And that's when I was like, okay, if I'm going to get to the next level, and if I'm going to position myself as this said person, I need to think differently, because what gets you here is not going to get you there. And I knew I couldn't just do a repeat of last year. I mean, I could literally probably do a repeat and just bob along, but that's not in my genetics. It's not in my makeup. Like we're pushing for I'm building legacy. I'm 50 years old. I don't want all my work to go to waste. So I want to build something that's sustainable and stays. So there was 2 things we did. First thing we did last year was we started to build a team of strategists. So I wrote a course that we put through CPD, got it certified, and we ran the first cohort just before Christmas. That was the first stage of building a team who were going to backfill me. So for this year that I could build this platform, which is the Class Business Awards. So I worked out last year, I was at Ideas Fest. Great event. If anyone hasn't been, I recommend you do. It's a brilliant way of obviously just connecting with other entrepreneurs, especially outside of the online space as well. So seeing how they're doing things. And I was like, why am I not running my own event? Like I should be running events. Like my background when I was a franchisor was in events and entertainment. Like, hang on a minute, penny dropped. What I should be doing. I need a platform, like particularly because of the niche I was in as well. There isn't that many places to talk on stage. And so once you've sort of done the circuit, you're like, okay, I'm done. Like there's nowhere else to go. And I knew I couldn't just for example, we connected through Adventures at Marketing. Like I couldn't just go and say, I want to talk on their stage, because they're like, what are you going to talk about? Well, I've only got this really to talk about. And at the time I was like, everyone can talk about that stuff. There's nothing special there. It has to stand out. So I was looking at, right, how am I going to do that part? And then for years and years and years, people have asked me when I was going to do my own awards, particularly because I've entered loads of awards. I believe awards are great for business, they're great for credibility and everything that comes with the benefits. And it never felt like the right time. But I've basically compounding for the last 4 years in terms of my personal brand, my audience. I've got a community, like we've got great stuff that happens. And I felt like this is the right moment to do it. So that's when we decided, okay, we need to evolve the Children's Activity Business Club into the Class Business Academy. The academy needs to be like an ecosystem that links from the Class Business Awards. What I was really keen to do is not create one event that's just a one-off day, because I was like, it has to feed into a whole ecosystem. with the aim of building an asset. And that's the era that I'm in. I'm like, I'm looking to help more people that take from idea to asset that can be scalable and can be sold in the future. So then legacy continues. Yeah, so we've been over those last year, I was like, okay, for 2026, we're going to have to evolve. We're going to have to move into this next level. And the way to do that is to build a platform, which is the first of its kind. And I can walk you through what we're actually building in terms of what it'll include. But that would be the catalyst for changing the business model and moving into that next era, because I mean, you will know, and everyone that's listening to this, there's only so much one-to-one work you can do. There's only so many digital products you can create. And for me, I was like, it's got to be scalable. It's got to be able to build as an asset. And we've got to be able to like build reoccurring revenue off the back of it. And that was what my main aim was. So yeah, so it's taken a lot of sucking sweets and doing different things and layering stuff to get to the point is that, okay, now the model needs to change. Like, yeah, that's the era that we're in now.
And there's so many business owners out there that really struggle with that concept of pivot or change or evolve or the next level. And you're working with businesses probably within the academy that are at those stages. What are some things that you guide them on to be able to help them to think differently about what their businesses could be or evolve into?
So for me, when I work with owners right now, I'm always looking at, is it profitable? Can it be scaled? Can it be delivered without you being the person that does all the do? And so when I work with owners now, like I've got a brilliant group of mastermindees, and we've got franchisors in there, we've got licenses in people that are running licenses, we've got some people that are developing online products. Because here's the other thing is, not everyone should be a franchisor. Like franchising is unregulated in this country. And so what tends to happen is people think, oh, well, the only way to scale is through a franchise, because they don't know, like, obviously they think a team, and then they think franchising. And we get predominantly a lot of people set up franchises in the UK, particularly in the sector that I'm in, and they don't realize that this is a 10-year game. It's a long-term game. It's not a quick win. The big brands that are out there right now, like, Daisy First Aid, Tots Play, they've been going for 10 years plus. And there's a reason that they're like the big brands, because they've put skin in the game. So one of the things I always do is I always guide the individual, because they're like, oh, I want a franchise. And I'm like, you do realize, like, this is the game. And if you're not willing to be in that game for that long, then franchise is not for you. And you also have to be the certain type of person to be a franchisor. You have to be pretty resilient. So sometimes that's the first thing, because I have had people that want a franchise and I know them. I'm like, no, you're not a franchisor. You're not going to be able to take the emotional stress that comes with franchising. Like, maybe licensing is a better option for you. So then we look at that avenue. Or they'll be like, well, actually, they want to build an online business. And so I'm always like, okay, well, let's look at how we can create a product that is, that can be scalable, not flash in the pan. Like, I know from doing the work I've done for the last 4 years, I absolutely love launching, but I know some people that dread it, and it's that whole roller coaster of, promo, and then you deliver the event, and then you got the sales week, and it's like 5 weeks out of your diary, and then you've got after the week after, where you hit the floor because you've obviously put everything in. And sometimes you don't get the result that you want of launching. And I know that lots of business owners would love more just stable, reoccurring revenue. So that's what I'm always focused on as well. It's like, how can we make this reoccurring? How can we make it sticky? So it's got customers can keep coming back for more, instead of just being one-off flash in the pan stuff.
I know, I think that's where a lot of this launch strategy, which people talk about just now within the marketing world, a lot about that as well. And it was talked about in Adventures in Marketing too, but this launch strategy that's been around for a while now, but it is a bit of a high and low as a roller coaster, and running a business is like that anyway on a day-by-day basis. So it can get to that burnout stage, and it's the whole predictability that we want to have in business. And as you mentioned there, that leave a legacy part of it, which it does sound like you've experienced part of that process through building up the franchise that you had for 9 years, selling out, starting up with the Class Business Academy, and now moving into the Class Business Awards. The Class Business Awards sound class, which is a proper, probably Scottish expression there to say it sounds really, really good, especially because it's giving credibility to those businesses that don't often get recognized within the kind of award scene or the kind of smaller business stage as well. So it's like you're giving people a platform that they can be able to not only gain the recognition that they need, but also the visibility as well as part of it.
So what we did, so when I designed the event, I was really keen to make sure it wasn't just like a one-off day. So I made the decision that I was going all in on content this year. I mean, like, I'm pretty hot on content anyway, and I love content marketing, but I also feel like for the last 2 years, there's not really been much depth on content marketing. It's all been like, 2-minute reels and all of that jazz. And I'm so pleased now it's swinging the other way. So I decided, I was like, right, we're going all in on content this year, and we're going to go all in on YouTube. Because the other thing that was really annoying me was that I was creating all this great content, and obviously I go live a lot on my Facebook page and Instagram. I mean, Instagram, keep it there now, but all my good stuff was just disappearing after 90 days. And I was just like, I can't afford to lose all this great content. So I was like, right, we're going all in on YouTube, and we're going to create long form content. And I came up with this insane idea. I might be dead by December after executing this, but I was like, no one else is going to do this. And that's what makes it insane. I was like, no one else is going to do this. So we're having the Class Business Awards on the 10th of October. At the National Conference Centre in Birmingham. And the first thing I wanted to do was to make sure we're aiming for 100 finalists. Okay. I wanted to know every single finalist before they come into the room. So I was
I've never heard of that. Anybody doing anything like that before?
No, it's insane. I was like, I don't know if I'm even going to survive it, but we're going to give it a bash.
That's pretty cool.
The plan was, we go out, we secure our partner sponsors, and we've secured 50% of those. We're going to interview all our partner sponsors, which we've already started. So we've done that phase, and we're pushing them out on YouTube. We're going to interview every single judge, and we've got 20 judges that we have recruited. So we're bringing those guys in. The nominations are open right now for the awards. We've got 8 weeks to get people into the awards process. We're incentivizing people who come in early that they will get an interview with me, like I picked at random. They get an opportunity to come on our podcast and be interviewed to tell their story. And so that was unique. First of all, we'll be able to get nominees in, and then we can drive through the nominations. And then the plan is, once we announce the finalists, I will interview every finalist before the awards. So over this next year, this 12 months, I should have done probably 150 to 200 interviews. And for me, I was like, that is a lot of people to interview for a start off, as you know, as a podcast host. And they're all going on YouTube. And then obviously we are repurposing everything and distributing it across the networks. But the other part I'm doing as well is I'm vlogging, and I'm documenting the whole behind the scenes of how I'm doing it. So that by the time we get to December, we've got 12 months of, look, this is where I started. These are all the challenges and everything else that we faced. And then by the end of the year, we'll have that whole year. So for me, the aim for the Class Business Awards is a year of storytelling, a year of interviewing people, finding out how they're doing the things in their business, and then obviously distributing that across our network. Because I believe that the problems that the small business owners face on a day-to-day basis, the answers are in the community. They're in the stories. And so if I can get those stories distributed out through YouTube and all the social media platforms and through Spotify and everywhere else, and we get people listening and taking action, that will have a massive impact and ripple effect across, obviously, the UK. And so that's how I built the event. And it fits in as an ecosystem because it then links into us knowing when people apply, we're asking certain questions to lift information out. So then we'll know what services exactly they need. We know what challenges they're facing. So we'll be able to create like the right products and the right systems and everything for them to funnel them through. And so, yeah, the way I designed it was that it had to be more than one day. It needed to be a whole year of content, storytelling, having that impact. And then the best thing is obviously I've been building this team of strategists because they're going to be able to support those class business owners in the future. And so for me, that was like the new level, new devil was like, if I'm going to if I'm literally going to propel myself, it had to be something big. Couldn't just be, I'll just organise an awards event, because I could have done that. I could have just be like done a one day, but I was like, that's not going to get me where I want to be. And so it had to be different.
As a creator, I used to spend hours re-recording voiceovers to get the perfect tone. But finding reliable voice talent, booking studio time, and editing takes forever, and it can break the bank. That's why I recommend 11 Labs. It generates ultra-realistic AI voices and even clones your own, all in seconds. With natural-sounding speech, multilingual support, and seamless text-to-speech conversion, 11 Labs powers podcasts, audiobooks, training modules, and more. No mic required. Ready to level up your audio? Try it free today at allmylink.me/TC11labs and bring your scripts to life with 11 Labs.
It is definitely an ecosystem that you're building here, and not just of the community that is part of it, but the actual structure and process of how that's built together. So with those 200 interviews that you're doing and the vlogging, which I've watched a couple of the vlogs, they're pretty good, I have to say. Go and watch them and consume them if you've not already, because it's just the day-to-day stuff, which is normally we're consuming in stories on Instagram or something like that, but it's quite nice to see it in a longer form, because it is a bit like that, isn't it? And I'd recommend that you go and watch them. But what I'm trying to get out here is that you've got lots of stuff happening. You've got this team of strategists now that you've brought through your mastermind. What are you having to do to be able to create this with systems and processes within your business? So I'm moving down this kind of system and process route, because it was just you. It's now probably not you,
No,
just you.
Not me now. No, it's not me now. So my husband has come on board. He's like editor. So he's like, he loves photography, video making and everything else. So he's like taking the lead on all the editing. I've had to bring in 2 VAs at the moment. One is on like creating all the content. So taking transcripts, creating them into blog posts, like LinkedIn articles, social media content. And then we've got another VA, my social media manager, who's like scheduling. Like the timeline is so jammed now. I've gone from like fingering, okay, we're going to post X, Y, and Z. And now I'm like, we have so much content, just trying to figure out what we're going to do with it all. So we've had to put a system in place. And one of the vlogs, I did document it, because I'm all about like I said, the long form content and then repurposing it. And at the time when I was figuring it all out, I was completely overwhelmed, because there was just so much stuff. Like when you're interviewing like six plus people a week, you've just got so much stuff coming out. So we had to get the systems in place, document it down in SOPs, and just be like, that's standard ops procedures. Anyone can know what SOP is, and then start building all of that around like the tech. So we're using like Riverside for the tools, we're using AI, we're using our email marketing, we're using like Metrical as a distribution platform, like my social media manager's managing all that part. So yeah, we've had to, and that's the one thing I didn't really plan for this, because I've always done things pretty much either on my own or with a small team.
Mm-hmm.
Literally was chatting with my husband about this week. I was like, we could have just stayed where we was and just like did the thing and just repeat. But no, we've chosen to do the hard thing. And I said, then the big issue we do have at the minute is I don't have the team structure in place to do everything. And I'm going to have to obviously get more in place. And that's been one of the parts that I've like, we did not think that bit through. I think most entrepreneurs don't think all of the stuff through. They go and do the do, and then you find what the bottlenecks are, and then you're like, problem solve that. And then you get the next bottleneck.
Yeah. We don't know what the problems are until they occur. And I think that's sometimes good because we have the ability to be flexible and agile than the larger companies do. So even if a franchise as well, you might not be able to be as flexible as that. So you're now in a place where you've got this flexibility, you've got the ability to be agile and just get this shit done basically at the same time.
I mean, I did laugh because I did say, I mean, one of the vlogs we called is like, I managed to create myself a media business. I've gone from doing one-to-one consulting, talking to people, to a full-blown media company, which now in hindsight, you're like, oh yeah, that's the core of the business. That's the core of the business. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying creating everything that we're building, and we're getting some amazing feedback from people like, oh, I'm loving your vlog. I'm watching this, or they're watching the interviews and they're like, I've got so many nuggets out of that those interviews. Now, traditionally, I probably would have done maybe one podcast a month, and then that would be like 6 months, like someone would have to wait to get that information. Now we're like cranking it out, like, and people can pick and choose. Oh yeah, that's for me. Oh yeah, that's the bit of nugget I need. Oh, I'm at that stage. And so it's brilliant. It's great because they're my community. It'll be helping them move faster. I would have like through growth as well, because they can literally like, I need to know about strategic partnerships. We've interviewed someone on that. She's given them the nugget. They could have been waiting 6 months if I'd done my timeline that I was doing before.
Yeah, I completely can understand that and relate to it as well. It is the system that you need to have in place, and it is the team and having the right people to be able to support you. But I find that does take time to get the right people to come on board. But it's all coming towards a common goal, and you've got the common goal that you're working on together for that. Gary Vee is still talking about at the moment where creating and putting out 25 plus pieces of content a day. Like, I know, I'm like, I watched something recently that he said, you're being kind of lazy if you're not putting out that 25 pieces of content a day. It's just that you don't really have the system in place. And I'm like, well, there is part of that. I don't know if laziness is part of it, but like, because we're all working pretty hard to kind of get content out there. It's just really that system to be able to make sure that it's out there. And you talk a lot about repurposing your content. And I know that marketing is one of your strategies for that. So repurposing content, if somebody is kind of new to thinking about, okay, I've got a I'm thinking about a content strategy, getting myself out there a little bit more. What is that repurposing aspect that they can think about for their business to help support that visibility across all their channels?
Yeah, so where I started, so when I was franchising, when I was a franchisor, I always started with blog content. So long form content. Podcasting is a great way to create that long form content. And here's the other thing with podcasting. Obviously, yeah, we're doing it here and we're in studios and we have all the setup and everything else. When I launched my first podcast, which is Start, Grow and Scale Children's Activity Business, I started on my mobile phone on GarageBand in my car. Now that podcast has had over 5,000 downloads and has been monetized. So it was like, take messy action, just get started and create the content. And that's where I did start. And then from there, I would take the transcript from the audio and then I would create it into a blog. And then I would snip it for short, like base content for social media. And that's how I started building that type of content. And I'd probably recommend that's how people start at now. I teach this in my Market Like a Pop Star program, because where I am right now, like, and I say this to my audience, I was like, don't you try this, because you will not be able to do what I'm doing right now, because it's literally the next level. It's too much. You don't need to do that. But you can just start with either them recording a mini podcast, them actually just saying, writing a blog is a good starting point. interviewing parents and stuff, like their customers and stuff, just looking at that long form content. And then I'm a big believer. I do say to my audience are time poor. They're time poor, they're juggling, like use AI, like use it, like, but use it in the right way. Don't get it just to write it, like make sure it's your voice, it's what you're saying. So I'm like, use it to help you. And then obviously they put it on the website for SEO. Then we use it on the social media platforms. But right now for us, we are repurposing it in many different ways. So we have the long form content, then we'll take it to the blog, it will go to newsletter, it will go to social media, we will clip it, we will create carousels with it, we will create quotes with it, we'll write LinkedIn articles. Like, we are literally squeezing that lemon out of that one piece of content as much as we possibly can, and then reformatting it in as many different ways for the platforms. And that's obviously been a big task, because that's when you're like, oh, lordy lord, this is a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. And I find that it is hard to keep on top of it, but a system is a way to do it. And even just starting off with the basic, turning the video into text, turning the text into video, turning it into quote cards, it does mean that it can save you time in the long run, but just getting that process of how we do it as individuals, or us and the team do it as individuals, as the starting point to be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. And what I do with my clients, and this is what I teach through my Market Like a Pop Star program, is that I say to them, let's get for you guys like maybe 12 pieces of core content that we repurpose. And then they just rotate it every 12 weeks. And then obviously that works for them, and then they can put in their reactive posts, like their engagement stuff, because like I said, half the people don't even remember what they saw 12 weeks ago, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm like, just do it that way so you can save yourself time in the long run. And then obviously that just gets them started with like building content marketing. And I think I say this like, because with my strategist course that I wrote, it's actually applicable to any business owner who is starting out, because it's a good foundation course for like micro business owners. But I said, you don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right things. It's like the right move. And that's what I teach like my clients, because if I say to them, oh, you need to do a YouTube channel. No, you don't. Like, they're not at that level. They don't need to do that. Franchisor, maybe that's a different ball game. But someone who's out delivering their local classes, they just need good SEO website. They need to be present on the social medias. They need to have WhatsApp marketing, and they need to be email marketing. And that's all really need. Like, they don't need to do everything. And I think that's half the problem with, particularly in the audience that I'm in. And I don't know, because obviously I don't know enough like micro business owners, but I feel like people get overwhelmed because they're listening to all this stuff out there telling them that they need to do X, Y, and Z, when really, they don't. They just need to do certain things. And that's what I teach my audience. And then when they're ready, when I've got a client who's franchisor, she's killing it on the personal brand. She was doing lots of long form content, being interviewed for podcasts. I was like, why are you not creating your own? And now she has, and she's hit the ground running, and she's doing, and that's what she needs to be doing right now. That is something she needs to do. But, for someone who's running their local classes, no, they don't need to do that. And that's the difference, I think.
Yeah, there is different strategies as per your business setup, local, online, whether you're a franchise, and it's working with what's right for you, and not being afraid to say no to the things that aren't right for your business as well, because we do, like, again, the shiny object syndrome, go into the things that everyone is telling us to do. And I see that a lot within female-led businesses as well, that we've got a little bit of shiny object stuff. But it's not always right.
That was one of the things that I did last year, actually, that might help the listeners, is I was obviously delivering my plan that I'd had mapped out for the year. But again, there was just so much noise coming from oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. And in the end, I was like, right, I need to unfollow a whole bunch of people because I was like, I just can't have you in my head. My brain is absolutely full right now and I just need to do my thing. So I was like, unfollow. And I just got super hyper focused on what I needed to do, which at the time was writing my CPD course. And I was like, just stick to your plan. You've mapped it out, Krissy. You've got the strategy. All you need to do is execute. Like, no. Because like at the time, like everyone was trying to sell you something. And I was like, I don't need any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't actually need any of this stuff. I just actually need to do what I need to do, which is actually just get my head down and do the work.
Mm-hmm. Exactly that. And it's building the resilience, I think, to be able to say, okay, I know what I'm doing. I can just get it done and then make the difference to my community in that way. And I love the fact that you're building an ecosystem from this. You're building a full space that people can come and not just develop, but continue to develop and continue to evolve. And what's the expression? The new level, new devil, right? To just really, it's not devil in that negative sense though, is it? Like, it's that kind of, it's the next hot thing, really. Okay, we're going to go through some quick fire questions now. I'm going to go through them and you can just answer quickly. Comes right off the top of your head. If you want to share more detail, you can. And yes, we'll take it from there. So first one, in-person classes or online classes?
Oh, in person.
Okay. Do you want to expand on that anymore?
Well, for particularly the sector I work in, like it's that whole right now for 2026, I believe that businesses that are going to survive this year are the ones who can build community, who develop those relationships with their customers, who like build those like retention strategies in place. A lot of my clients, obviously, I do a lot of my work online, but I still prefer in person. Like, there's nothing better than meeting people in person. And that is where the magic happens and where everything is at a local level. And I have clients that run amazing online classes and they're absolutely fabulous, but I always think in person will always win. I think most of the providers I worked with are traumatized from COVID days where they had to go online.
Yeah.
And so they just love being in person. But yeah, it's that whole community, isn't it? I've got people that say to me, oh, the mums have gone back to work and then they're pregnant again and they're bringing their kids again. It's that whole, like, they have this massive impact on families and communities and they don't actually realize it. And years to come, they'll be like, oh yeah, my little kid went to this class and they loved it and we loved our time there.
And it's
so,
where parents get to meet friends as well and actually
yeah,
have that relatable experience, which
totally.
even though social media is about connection, it's really not. I find it can be a bit separative sometimes. So in person for me is really the place to build that community. And I think that will bring the change into the world again, is us coming back into in real life and experiencing what it's like to be human around each other. So I'm all for in person too. Okay, next question. One mistake class-based business owners make when they start scaling.
Probably not having the systems in place. Not having the systems in place and not, from my experience, still stuck in delivery and then trying to scale when really they have to take the leap and be like, I'm going into full time in this and I have to leave that. Most of the providers I work with, and I get it because I was I was there. You absolutely love teaching. That's why you got into the business. You love working with parents, schools, nurseries, etc. When you become the leader in the business, be it if you're, building a team or, franchising or licensing, you have that shift changes and you have to be the leader. And I know from experience that is the trickiest part, that they're like, but I just want to teach my classes. And I'm like, I know, but when you've got a network of 40, you're not going to be able to teach anymore because the demands of the team is what you now do. Like, you're now in sales and marketing, my friends, team leading.
And system development and on all the other parts of
Processes,
the running the business.
Yeah, like literally franchising is all processes, systems, ops manual, follow the system. And so that becomes like, that's their job. Their job is to grow the brand, to champion the brand at a national level, and to lead a team and recruit a team. And to do that, yeah, you've got to have every system in place to do that.
Yeah. I actually had a podcast interview with Penny Hopkinson, and she is creating an AI tool called Manual Magic, which she helped to develop. She's done 40 years of franchising.
Oh, wow.
And she's now creating this AI tool, which should be out now. And it is about how do you create your SOPs in your business using this AI tool. And because she created the SOPs and the processes for like Costa Coffee, all the big brands. So if you've not listened to that episode yet, definitely go and recommend to the listeners and watchers here, go and hear what it takes to create processes and manuals in your business from somebody that's been doing it for 40 years. Manual Magic is our Manual Magic AI. I think it's going to be is her product that way too. Okay, next question. Community or content, which grows a business faster?
It's a bit of both, isn't it? Like, you need the content to build a community. I mean, I'm very lucky. I've always been I use Facebook to build community. I use Instagram to collect email addresses. That is like how that's how I would make it work. I love building communities on Facebook because it's like the tool I've always used all my life. But I've done that through creating content and like building that content out. So I think, you can't really have one without the other.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the content creates community. The community then helps you create more content, which then creates the circle of it all as well. So I'm with you on that one. Okay, one mindset shift every entrepreneur needs when they level up.
Oh, tricky one. I think for me, like the leveling up part for me has been like, you just got to back yourself. Like, I know that I already know, like, we're all just in March and the first 2 months have been tough already, like physically, emotionally, and obviously not the whole thing. But I know I always win. The thing is, if I don't win, I learn something. And I said this to my audience, I will either be bankrupt by the end of this year or we'll just be on to the next level. I don't think I'll be bankrupt because I can always like turn it up if I have to. But I definitely think you've got to have that self-belief. I do a lot of work on mindset every day. I do these positive affirmations, but I do have this, I don't know what it is. I do have this don't get me wrong, I do have collywobbles and I have had plenty in the last few weeks. But I always tell myself, this is just a moment in time. And you're feeling like this because you're growing and you're doing stuff you've not done before. But we've always done the big things and we've always like been okay. And so I think that it's that I do feel like you need that mindset work. And if you need that support, then you need to go get it.
Yeah, I believe that our mindset is our biggest fundamental that we need to work on for any business at any stage. And it is a daily practice, isn't it, of that affirmation work? I do the exact same. And it is super important to make sure that mindset is in place for any shift that you're making in your business as well. What's one thing class-based businesses often undervalue?
Themselves, like literally themselves. So one of the things I always promote with my audience, and it's funny because I've been banged on about this for 4 years, and then now it's the year of the personal brand. I'm like, if you're hiding behind a logo right now, my friends, it's not going to cut it. One of the things providers do is they undervalue themselves. They don't realize that they are the purple cow. That is what makes them stand out from their crowd. It's all their unique knowledge, skills, experience. And that's one of the things that I work with is to pull that out so that they are one of a kind and no category. It's one of the things I use. It's like, you're one of a kind, no category. And when you can understand like what your crown is, then you can shout about it. Confidence comes. Then you go into a category of one, and then you can be the go-to provider in your area. You can't do that if you don't value yourself. And that's one of the things that I find a lot, they lack confidence.
Yeah, it goes back to that mindset stuff as well. So really focusing on the fundamentals of themselves. A quote that I use all the time is, everything is fine all of the time. Everything is fine all of the time. Because it's what we tell ourselves that gets us in our spiral, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's like you can control the controllables, but you can, I still have to work on that as well. Like at night, like your brain's racing through, and you're like, really? Are we having this conversation right now when I'm trying to go to bed? Like, can we just do this tomorrow? Like, I can't do anything about this right now.
Yeah, it's a daily work. Okay, best piece of business advice you've ever received.
Well, that's a tough one. I think just like going for stuff. This is one of my observations. Best people, money loves speed. And I've always believed that money does love speed. And one of the frustrating things I find is that people come up with, or they come up with these great ideas and then they take 3 years to get them to market. I'm like, move fast. And so I think probably that's one of the pieces of it is like I think it's Claire Mitchell. I love Claire Mitchell. I don't know if you follow her. She's
I love Claire
brilliant.
Mitchell too.
Money loves speed. And like, if you come with something, you've got to go with it fast. And that's the way I've always worked. And I find it really frustrating. Like when I work with some clients and they're like, they spent 12 months working on this project. The amount of work I've done in 8 weeks to like secure partners, get a brand out there, build a platform. And slow. And I just think that the most successful people I've seen, and obviously it's just in the world that I'm in and the people I've seen operate, they move fast. They move fast. Yeah.
Yeah. What's that expression? If you're not fast, you're last, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I work like that. I'm like, if I've got this idea and I think it's good, I'll speak to a few people, sound it out. But I just do it. I just create it. I'd rather fail fast than think, oh, I could have got that out there and I didn't.
Yeah, I think that's part of this like evolution stuff that really what the fundamental is. The next part of growth is about failing quickly.
Yeah.
And that could lead to the next level of success as well. So it's not being afraid of that. And that's our mindset stuff that we've got to work on too and just get it done, right?
What's the worst that can happen?
Exactly.
No one buys or
it doesn't work.
Or didn't work. We just put that to the side. Let's go again.
Yeah. But what's the next thing? I mean, I see it in digital and technology all the time. The tools are changing consistently. You can't keep on top of it. But what you can do is make sure that how you're navigating it isn't impacting it, if that makes sense. So just make sure that you are feeling confident of what you're doing. And that's all mindset stuff, I think.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Okay. Final question, Krissy. What's one tech tool that you're loving right now and why?
Okay. I love using WhatsApp. I just love it. The fact that for the last 2 years, I have been collecting numbers. And I'm like, if you're not collecting numbers right now, then you're missing the trick, aren't you really? I love WhatsApp because I can communicate with like my clients really fast. I can check in with them. I can see like what they're up to. I love hosting groups again because it builds a community. Like I've got one right now that are like so supportive. I go back and it's 50 messages and I'm like, what's going on? I love it that you can voice note anyone, you can text them. So WhatsApp for business for me right now is it's just the go-to. I've used it all the time. I use it for broadcasts. I use it in launching. I just basically drive all my traffic to WhatsApp. And I do that so I can speak to people because I've done it in the past where it's like book a discovery call or do this. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. I want to know who it is, what the issue is, so I can decide, is it a call job? Is it just like refer them to my book or my podcast? And you can just really get to know people. I have so many conversations with people on WhatsApp, so many people. So yeah, that's my go-to tool.
It's like that community right in the people's palm of their hands, isn't it? So we're we're always got our phone on us in some sort of way. So you're straight in people's hands and you're straight connecting to them in that space. So brilliant. Krissy, this has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. You've had so much valuable insights to share about how to kind of grow a business, move to the next level, what's required as part of it. So if people want to connect with you, learn more about the Class Business Academy, the signature programs that you've got, the Class Business Awards, where should they go and connect with you?
So they can go to my website, which is www.classbusinessacademy.com. And that's all the information about what we're offering in terms of support to business owners, how they can get involved in the Class Business Awards, or even if they want to become a partner sponsor as well, they can get involved in that. And if they want to come and follow me as an entrepreneur and obviously find out what I'm doing behind the scenes, you can find me on Instagram under I am Kristine Monaghan. And that will direct you to my YouTube channel because this year, WhatsApp and YouTube is like where all traffic's going.
Yep. that's the places. I'm finding YouTube Shorts working really well as well at the moment. So full strategy on that too.
Yeah.
Krissy, thank you so much for joining me today. Go and check out the Class Business Academy. Go and check out the Class Business Awards. Go and see what Krissy is doing and just look at her set up in funnels and see what's working as well. And if today's episode has made you realize that your business might have outgrown the systems you originally built it on, then I've got something that will really help. Most businesses think that their challenge is marketing or visibility, but often the real issue is the digital setup and systems behind the scenes. That's exactly why I've created the Digital Setup and Systems Health Check. It helps you identify the gaps, inefficiencies, and missed opportunities in your digital infrastructure so you can build a business that actually works. You can take the health check at technologycoachingonline.com/digital-health-check. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you subscribe to Digital Dominators, share it with a friend, and keep building the digital mindset your business needs to thrive. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to Digital Dominators. I hope today's episode gave you something practical or at least a bit of a boost to keep things going in this mad digital world. If you're enjoying the podcast, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up. There's loads more good stuff on the way and some brilliant guests lined up too. And if you fancy going a bit deeper, come and join the Digital Dominators community. It's totally free and it's where I share bonus trainings, podcast extras and tools to help you build confidence with your digital skills. You'll also get access to my social media prompt calendar so you can finally stop staring at that blank screen wondering what to post. Just head to technologycoachingonline.com/digital dominators to get started. Alright, that's it from me just now. Stay curious, keep showing up, and I'll catch you in the next one.